I'm Ruth Ezell at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, and this is the Black Americans in Flight mural, honoring the contributions of the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II and all those who followed. The mural depicts pilots like St. Louisans Christopher Newman and Wendell Pruitt. The only pair of brothers in the Tuskegee Airmen hailed from Jerseyville, Illinois, and for more than 70 years they were relatively unknown in this region. That was remedied by a researcher whose efforts led to the creation of a memorial at the brothers' final resting place.
Color guard, oh, ace.
A color guard opened a memorial ceremony at Alton Cemetery near the gravesite of the Sisko brothers, Captain Arnold Sisko and Second Lieutenant George Sisko, affectionately known as the Sisko Kids. They were pilots in the segregated 332nd Fighter Group and the 447th Bombardment Group of the United States Army Air Forces. Called the Tuskegee Airmen because they were trained near Tuskegee, Alabama, the Siskos and their comrades were the nation's first African-American military aviators. The term also applied to the pilots' support personnel, from mechanics and navigators to the cooks. In World War II, they operated from Italy and escorted bombers on raids over Germany, Poland, Hungary, Austria, and Czechoslovakia. The airmen were nicknamed Red Tails by the Allies because of the bright markings on the tail sections of their planes. Captain Sisko died in the crash of a transport plane in which he was a passenger in 1946. Lieutenant Sisko was killed in 1944 in a mid-air collision in South Carolina where he was undergoing advanced training. Eugene Jones Baldwin spearheaded the campaign for a memorial headstone after learning about the Siskos.
In the 90s, I lived in Chicago, and I was hired by the National Park Service to be one of the oral historians of the Tuskegee Airmen National Historical Project. We didn't get to all of them, sadly. When I came to Alton, the first thing I did was say, are there any Tuskegee Airmen around here? I think I was joking, but yes, the answer is yes. So I wrote a couple of articles about these men, and here we are.
George Sisko met Clara Billy Jackson when they were students at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. They married, he was drafted, and was originally assigned to a tank battalion. But he transferred at the urging of Brother Arnold, who had enlisted to fly. Billy Sisko Smith, who now lives in Texas, was among the relatives who attended the ceremony. She said her late husband took his first solo flight the day before their daughter was born.
He wrote me a letter, and the letter was very involved in telling how much he felt about being in the air, flying among the angels.
My name is Pat Thornton. I live in East St. Louis. Clara Smith is my mom, and George was her first husband. Her first daughter, Donna, was my sister, and this is her child, Jacqueline, her daughter. So George is no blood relation to me, but he was married to my mom.
And I'm sure you've heard stories.
Oh, researched, not just heard. I did a lot of research for my sister.
The unveiling and dedication of the Black Granite Monument was made possible through a campaign that raised the necessary $6,000.
I read the article that Gene had written in the paper, and it was several months after that we talked, and it was really amazing because we wanted to find the headstones. So we came out here, we found them, they were dirty and unkempt. We just kind of stood there and went, this isn't right, we need to do something here. So that's kind of how it started.
And I met Lorenzo at his wedding. I was friends with his wife. She said, come to my wedding, and she married this guy. And then Charlie and I went to school together, high school together. So it was a fit. We've become brothers.
The third member of the campaign team is Lorenzo Small, a nephew of the Sisko brothers.
Like Gene said, we met at my wedding, and he asked me if I had known anything about some Tuskegee Airmen. He had been doing some research when he was in Chicago, and I said, oh, by the way, I have some uncles who are buried in the city cemetery who are we're Tuskegee Airmen. And so we got together and let's do this. I was elated. Let's do it. I was totally excited.
Left. Hey. Aim.
It's very, very rewarding to know that they're doing this for them, because they deserve it.
It's important when a veteran dies that we don't forget their name. The only way we're going to remember it is to keep saying it or to keep honoring them.